We gonna go? You good to go? Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody out to the regular scheduled Uintah County Commission meeting. We're located here in the Commission chambers. It's April 11th, 2022 at 11 a.m. First off, we'd like to ask everybody to turn your phones off or put them on silent if you would. Start out with a prayer from Matt Kazir and then a pledge from Tanya Murray.
Father in heaven, we're grateful to be gathered here this day. We're grateful for the chance we have to meet as a community. And we're grateful for this county that we live in and for the community that surrounds us. We ask that you please watch over and protect our armed servicemen and women and our first responders. We ask you for this in
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Matt. Go to the approval of the minutes for April 4th, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from April 4th, 2022.
Okay. Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Next would be the report of warrants, review of counter signatures, and certified list of claims.
Okay, Commissioners, first of all, the warrants from last week from April 8th, 2022, in the amount of $364,381.16. There was one on here that I want to point out. This was bid to Techno Alpine USA. It was for the pumps and that at the Snow Hill, but we finally got that bill, $95,926.74. The certified claim today, Commissioners, is for Western Park, but actually it's for the museum. But this was something this is the fire alarm testing that Don Brookins through facilities arranged, and the Western Heritage Museum gets the privilege of paying it. So they probably didn't even know what happened, but it didn't get a PO. And so anyway, that's the list of claim. There was check number 379392. Claim was filed was issued for $739.
Okay. On the pumps with Techno Alpha, that was last year, August, from a grant that was
We
received from the state
Bid
of
it
Utah.
out last year,
And the PO was created.
and the PO and everything, but I don't know when we actually received a product or anything.
Okay.
So right now, this is going to have to be sure to be adjusted in the 2022 budget.
Okay.
I believe that was a grant, wasn't it?
It was. It was a grant
Yeah.
from the state of Utah.
And that's
Okay.
the only certified claim.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm reading something here that there were some, that was from Zeke, where they did not have enough detail to know what they're for. So I don't know, are those considered?
Was it on this check run?
Well, it's the certified claims, so I don't know if they are on the 4722 check run. One of them's from the museum, didn't have a purchase order. The other 39 are from payroll. 2 of the 39 payroll entries had requisitions submitted with not enough detail to know what they are for and no supporting documentation. The other 37 whips were auto entered into the check run.
Are they on the warrant list, the stuff that he's talking about?
I don't know. I'm
Did
assuming
he say
so.
who they were
Here.
to?
Well, those are payroll, they wouldn't be on the check run.
The checks to insurance and that probably would be, and I don't know, I have not checked that email, so I don't know what that, if it was shared with me, I'm not even sure.
If it is, will you bring him up next week for us?
Okay, so, well, if that being said, I would, I move to approve the counter signature of the certified list of claim for the fire alarm testing
With power control
for
systems.
power control systems
Okay,
as presented.
have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Systems.
Cemetery certificates.
Just a couple this morning, Commissioners. Rock Point Cemetery, Marcia Owens and William Owens, Block 333, Lot B, spaces 20 and 21. Moving to Vernal Memorial Park, Iris Jackson, Lot 204, space 8. Still in Vernal Memorial Park, Larry Massey and Brianne Spence, Lot 207, spaces 4 through 7.
Okay. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the cemetery certificates that has been presented at this time by Mike Wilkins.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you, Mike. Any tax matters today? Wendy? Business licenses. Gabby?
Good morning, Gabby Hawks Blackburn with Community Development. We have 3, 2 are home-based with the same conditions. Would you like to hear those
Those
first?
two together.
First one is Red Cloud Loop Construction, located at 664 West, 500 North in Vernal, parcel number 48155. They are a general contractor. The home is just being used as a home-based office. We went and checked it out. Everything looks great. So the only recommendation on this one is that they follow all home-based business rules and regulations.
Okay.
And the next one is Monterey's Cleaning Services, located at 95 East, 975 South, parcel number 5537. And both of these are in the RA1 zone.
Okay.
The home is also just being used as a home-based business, as well as storing the cleaning equipment, which will be inside their home. And so again, just follow all home-based business rules and regulations.
Okay. Any further questions, concerns, discussion on these two home-based businesses? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the business licenses for Red Cloud Loop Construction. And what was it, Monterey's?
Monterey's. Yeah, Monterey.
Monterey. Monterey Cleaning Service, both home-based businesses where it's a home-based office, and some storage of cleaning supplies with the provision they follow all the home-based business rules.
Okay, I have a
I'll
motion.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And then the next one is Crosswater Ranch, located at 734 North, 500 East, parcel number 46776 in the RA1 zone. This is like a reception events venue. So they got a conditional use permit last year, and as part of that, they had to build an all-weather surface to the parking lot. Each event must follow the local health and fire code regulations. There had to be directional signs, and the event-related sound must not exceed 60 decibels at the property line. So they had their own conditions for that. For the business license, we went and made sure that all of those conditions were being met. And in addition, we'd like to add that the buildings on the property not be used for business purposes, because those were permitted for agricultural.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Crosswater Ranch business license as long as it follows all the provisions that was okayed in the process of getting the business license as presented.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gabby. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is the State Library for ARPA ECF Support Grant. Is Sam?
I think he'd had some issues with, his kids had some medical procedures last week, and he wasn't sure he was going to make it back in today, so, there he is right there.
There he is. You're up, Sam.
Thank you, Commissioners. As you may be aware, the library received through its consortium with Utah Education Network. They provide internet for schools and public libraries in Utah. We received 25 laptops, computers, and 25 hotspots with connections paid for as part of the Emergency Connectivity Fund that was part of this recovery money from earlier in the year. These have shown up. They are in the library waiting to be processed, waiting to go out. I approached the state of Utah, the State Library Division, and said, hey, thank you very much for your work with UEN on helping us get this material. Would it be possible for you to throw in some money for the software needed to make the computers work, and also some laptop cases and things for them to make the checkouts more practical? They agreed to grant us $2,000 for that purpose. So I'm asking for you to authorize me to sign this, I don't know what they called it, $2,000 grant for ARPA ECF Support Grant, they're calling it.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions?
No.
Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize Sam Passy to sign the grant for the additional, it's for software and accessories for the computers and hotspots that we received as part of the ARPA ECF support grant.
Okay. Have a motion?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, appreciate it.
That. Next item on the agenda is Children's Justice Center Program Update.
Thank you, Commissioners. April is Child Abuse
Could you
Awareness
state your
Month.
name?
Oh, sorry, Tanya
Thanks.
Murray. I always forget that part.
I do too.
But April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, so I thought this would be a perfect time to update the Commission on the CJC and the services that we provide and what we've been doing for the past 15 years that I've been there. So I know that child abuse is a really difficult topic, and a lot of times we think that it's a big city problem. We think that trafficking is a big city problem, and unfortunately it's something that is in every community, everywhere we go. And in our little area, we're not exempt from that either. Last year we actually had a record year. In the 15 years that I've been here, we conducted 305 interviews of kids last year. We provided 61 medical exams and a lot of additional services that I'll go over some of those in a minute. Comparatively, when I started back in 2007, that first year I was here, we conducted a total of 71 interviews. So from 71 to 305, we also conducted 7 medical exams that year versus the 61 that we had last year. We've had as many as 99 medical exams in a year. Some of those just fall into the criteria, whether or not one will be done at our center or not. So a lot of that is the nature of the case. In the past 15 years, I ran some reports, and we have conducted 2,901 interviews. We've served 3,017 kids from January 1, 2007 to February 28th, 2022. it's hard to say all those numbers, but when you think about that, that's 3,000 kids in our community who have gone through our center for one reason or another. And just goes to show that it really is a problem in our community, and increasingly so. Those numbers are definitely not getting smaller. During that time, we were able to provide 536 medical exams to the kids, and we served an additional 1,462 secondary victims, which would be siblings, non-offending caregivers, that kind of thing. In 2018, we received a grant from VOCA where we were able to provide additional services. It really enhanced the services that we were already providing, and we were able to now offer therapy to the kids. So there's a two-part process to that. They come in and get a screening. So we screen kids 7 and above to find out how at risk they are for underlying trauma symptoms, lack of sleep, depression, suicidal ideation. And based on that screening, we're able to hook them up with appropriate therapy services. We've also worked to create specialists within our area of therapists to be able to handle these types of situations for kids. And so the VOCA grant not only covered it's called a care process model, so not only the screening, but also paid for therapy. So since that, we started that grant in 2017 and really got kicking it off in 2018, and since then, we have been able to cover 3,023 therapy sessions for kids and a few of their parents and siblings who are also at risk or secondary victims in those situations. So we definitely were really excited when we started that project. We didn't know how many people would be interested. A lot of times there's a belief about therapy that is not always positive within our community, and some people have been really hesitant in the past to take advantage of those services. And we estimated what we thought we would be able to provide, and we came in about triple what we thought. So we knew that parents were seeing the need. Kids have been receptive. We've been really honored to be able to offer that to our community and to be able to not have money be a barrier for parents to get their kids the proper treatment that they need. So that was a really important milestone for us. Then in 2019, we also took it a little step further and became one of the few centers in the state to have a forensic interview specialist on site. So for all of our detectives that we work with and the Child Protective Services workers are trained in forensic interviewing, but the way the caseloads are spread out, one might do 20 interviews in a year, someone else might do 5, somebody might do 1. So it was really hard throughout the year to get someone to continually improve those skills. And so we now have Jessica Shellberg, who's our forensic interview specialist. She's been there since October of 2019, and she's doing we planned on having her do about 50% of the interviews, but she's closer to 80% right now. She's doing such a phenomenal job. She's testifying this week as an expert witness in some trials that we have, and then she testifies on her own interviews as well to be able to help kids and move that court case through the process more smoothly. So she has been a great asset to our team and definitely needed within our community. Her ability to really get and excel in that skill has been it's been amazing to be able to see how that has changed things. Also, in 2012, we started a facility dog program. We've had a dog in our center since 2012. We've been the only CJC in the state to have a consistent dog in the programs during that time. About 5 years ago, Utah County got one, and then there's been some recent discussions with some of the other counties, but we've had a firmly established program for quite some time and have been able to provide service to help the other centers as they've been developing those programs as well. So it's been really quite a fun 15 years for me, and I've really enjoyed it. So part of our success throughout these years has really relied on community partners, the Sheriff's Office, Vernal City, Naples City, FBI, and DCFS to get kids to us so that we can provide that coordinated joint response. And clearly showing the numbers that we have, we know that we're doing a good job in that way, that our community partners are feeling like we're doing a good job, and they're making sure to bring the kids to us because they see our services as valuable. So that has been really important for our program. And in addition to that, having the commission support, the county attorney's support, the support of the advisory board to be able to sign off on some of these innovative ideas that we've been able to jump in on. Most of these projects that I presented today were pilot projects in the beginning, and we jumped in with both feet, and they have been incredibly helpful for the kids and families that we serve. So I really want to thank the commission for your support in that, and our community partners at large for being so willing to let me spread my wings and try these crazy ideas that we have. So it's been really, really beneficial for our community. And that is really all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
I don't have any questions myself. I do want to say thank you for all the time and effort that you've put in. I don't know if everybody knows that her last day will be May the 6th, and it's going to be a very large hole in our community and in the program. So you've done a lot of great things over there and helped a lot of people. So we do appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Thank you. And we do have our little rock star over here. She's keeping John under
Not here. I'm not the
calm.
rock star. Rock star's sitting down right here.
Miss Kona is doing exactly what she does when she goes to court with kids, which is be silent and invisible. And I have noted on many occasions that she shows up a little bit more professionally than I do. So we will thank the dog for her professionalism and keeping John calm.
Yep. Mr. Chair, can I make a couple comments?
Please do.
So Tanya, just coming from the county attorney's office, you know, you deal with cases, the sheriff's office deals with cases, and we deal with cases where the adults need to have the hard conversations, and kids don't understand that. Court is not a good environment for kids, really under any circumstance. It's scary. I think people understand that. Even if they're there for a positive reason, it's very formal. It's not something where they're at ease. And so being able to have your center be able to help out the kids, and unfortunately the word safe space or the phrase safe space I think has been appropriated inappropriately in a lot of different places, but in this type of setting, those kids truly need a safe space to be able to talk about what they feel they went through. And your staff does that does that very, very well. Also, you mentioned the professional forensic interviewers that you have. That for our office is just key. If we're going to be able to bring charges against an individual, we need the evidence to be solid. It has to be solid. One is to make sure that we can successfully prosecute a crime, but two, if we're going to be accusing somebody of those types of crimes, we have to make sure the evidence is there, because those accusations can wreck a life, and we get that. So being able to have solid evidence, and then also make sure the kids only have to talk about it only to the extent that they have to talk about it, so they don't have to relive it. So I wanted to mention that as far as our office goes, and how much we appreciate the CJC and all of your staff. And then to you personally, I have to say it, we have worked together for over a decade now, known each other longer than that. And so wish you all the best in all that you do, and the service that you provide for Uintah County and for the community. So on a personal level, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Except just thank you. We appreciate you, Tanya. You're going to be missed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda would be the UBTECH interlocal agreement, addendum and extension.
Morning, Commission, Sheriff LABRUM. I need a motion from you and the public I want you to deny her resignation.
I'll second that.
We tried that already.
I want to say on behalf of the sheriff's office and me personally, I've worked with Tanya for a long time. When I came back home in '05, I landed in investigations at the sheriff's office and was one of those people doing those interviews that are the interviews that nobody wants to participate in, but we have to. And Tanya has made that CJC the safe place for kids to go and about as comfortable as you can get when you're talking about those horrible things. So thank you, Tanya, for all your efforts. Okay, on to the UBTECH contract. This is a contract that we negotiated a couple years ago. It's the same contract with an addendum for the current year. It's the same amount, the $90,000 that they pay for a school resource officer there at UBTECH. From the sheriff's office, it'll start August 23rd of 2022 and go through May 26th of 23. Just ask for a motion with appropriate signatures.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion that we approve this contract with the UBTECH interlocal agreement with the Sheriff's Department and addendum and extension. The extension is for August 2nd?
August 23rd.
August 23rd, 22.
Yep.
And May 26th of
23.
23, and with appropriate signatures.
Okay.
You guys covered?
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any further discussion on that motion? Steve, before we vote on this, can you tell me, just give me a real quick, have you seen the difference it makes having the sheriff there, somebody there versus not?
In the words of President Waite, that's over the UBTECH, they were a disaster before we had the school resource officer. All of the kids from the surrounding area would land at UBTECH because it was kind of a free-for-all over there. There was no presence other than calling dispatch to get somebody there. And so a lot of sloughing went on, stealing from the school store there, and other activities were going on a regular basis. We were responding daily over there, and we've cut that down to the first year there was only a handful of incidents that we wrote reports on from the school. So just the presence there alone, from President Wade, he says, I can't put a dollar amount on that, but 90,000 is all I can give you.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Steve. Thanks
Yep.
for that. The next one, yours too?
Yep.
U.S. Marshal Joint Law Enforcement Operation Task Force Modification.
So this is our contract with the United States Marshals. They give us a little extra money when we have a very violent fugitive in the area, or maybe some sex offenders that are non-compliant that we can go and pick up. Last year we got 5,000 from the Marshal Service. This year they've lowered it to 4,000, and I think that occurred because of their year. It's October 1st to September 30th. We didn't have a lot of violent offenders in the last quarter of the year last year, so they cut the funding a little bit, just anticipating that we hadn't used that $1,000. So
Okay.
So it's a reimbursable, you don't, or is that a line item you charge to?
we just bill them our wages that until we're out of that money that they allocate for us. And they've been really good that if we have some incidents that would qualify for that money, then they give us a little more.
Okay.
So just need a motion for appropriate signatures on that approval of monies.
What's the
Accepting.
term of this one?
It's October 1st to September 30th.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the modification of the U.S. Marshals Joint Law Enforcement Operations Task Force, which would be $4,000 for the period October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023, including authorization of signature.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Just
Oh.
real quick, was that the right calendar year. So are we ahead of the
It's a fiscal year, right?
year, or are we needing to have this apply for 2021 to?
No, it's the federal, yeah, it is
Fiscal year.
21. Sorry, it is
Okay.
20.
Okay.
October of 21 to September 30th
Okay,
of
can we
2022.
then
Thanks, Joe.
seek a modification on that motion
Yes.
then?
Yes, from October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Thanks, John. Thanks, Steve. Next item on the agenda is acceptance of the RFQ for the Land Use Appeal Hearing Officer.
All right, Matt Kazir with Community Development Office. Let's see, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember now, but we opened RFQs for Land Use Authority Appeal Authority for the county. We received 2 RFQs, and myself and John Sturmer reviewed the RFQs that came in, and we would present that we award this to Elliot R. Lawrence. Let's see, he's out of Grantsville. He has extensive experience in land use law. He is an attorney, has a Juris Doctorate, also has a Master's of Public Administration. And his fees are $250 per hearing, and that covers the first 3 hours, up to the first 3 hours, and then each hour after that is $50. He does say that in his experience that very few of these types of matters take him more than 3 hours. So we present that to you for approval.
What's the term of the contract?
It's a 2-year contract that can be extended for another year, I believe.
Starting when? Do we need to have that in there?
Well, we'll accept the RFQ or award the RFQ to Elliot Lawrence, and then we'll work with him to get a contract and bring the contract back.
So on this, yeah, we would be seeking approval to award the RFQ to him, and then for the county attorney's office to negotiate the contract and then present it. We won't need to do that. If you all approve it here, we'll just present it to the chair for signature, as long as it sticks with the terms of the RFQ.
Okay. Any further questions? Comments?
Okay.
Entertain a motion.
So if I can make one, just to put on the record, so in matters like this, we do look for quality first, then to cost, because they are dealing with quasi-judicial appeals, and we need to make sure that they follow the record and that they're thorough and complete in their findings. And so that was the first thing that Matt and I looked at, was quality of work. And we received some writing samples and found them to be very acceptable. Thought they were well-reasoned in analysis and substance. So with that, then that's where we came up with this recommendation. So I just wanted to get that on the record as well, on how we did our analysis.
Okay. Okay. Entertain a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the U.S. Marshals Joint Law Enforcement Operations Task Force.
We're on the
That was the last one.
We're on the next one.
Sorry. Acceptance of a RFQ for Land Use Appeals Hearing Officer as presented by Matt to the law offices of Elliot R. Lawrence for a 2-year contract, which will be awarded at this time with the approval of the county attorney's officers for appeals, for approval, and upon that time, the appropriate signatures by the sheriff, the chairman. That got us covered?
It's in there.
Okay.
Yep.
It's in there.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second,
Any further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Utah Cutting Horse recap.
Melanie Silcox, Western Park. As you guys know, we had the Utah Cutting Horse Association event last week, ran from the 5th through the 9th. It was sanctioned by the NCHA, the National Cutting Horse. People traveled from all over. We had 9 different states that were here, including Arizona, California, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Montana, Wyoming, Virginia, and Utah. They all came out. They had great feedback from the community. They loved the support. A couple of different restaurants that they went to said they were super thankful for the event that was happening. They had over $50,000 in purse money that they could win. They've already rebooked for next year to come back. They're hoping that this year they can book one more for this year, but we are competing with other events since it is already in process. So if not this year, for sure, we will book some for next year. We're super excited to have them back. We have had several events taking place at the Western Park, so it was a huge changeover. So we'd like to thank the road department and Scott Hardman. They came over and helped us accomplish that changeover. And thank you to you guys for supporting it and letting us offer them things that they couldn't resist to come to town on that. Any
You know,
questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a comment, in appreciation to Mel and her crew, and of course, always Tracy, but they, she pretty much sought after this event, went out and got it, brought it here, organized it, put it together. Great from the road, support from the road department with putting it all together, but just a great shout out to Mel and what she's done here, and thanking you for it personally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. I went over and watched for a while and then made a couple stops in, and the participants were very excited. They were happy with everything that was going on. And then I was able to watch it on, I don't know if it's YouTube or whatever it was, but was able to watch it there. It was a great event. So appreciate you doing that and stepping outside and doing those kind of things.
They really liked it. We had, the community came out. We had Jake Ream from Yellowstone that was here, and he had brought a couple of his horses. So there was community getting their pictures taken with him, and people were really enjoying it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Thanks
So-
again.
Thank you.
Well, and also coordinating all the events at the same time, in addition to the cutting horse, blow wishes for Emily, and that's always a enjoyable event. And like last year, it was filled all the way down that side. So balancing and keeping all of those things running is a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think the next one's hers too.
Next one, yours too?
Yes.
Approval of the All-Star Monster Truck contract.
So for the Uintah County Fair, we would like to bring back the All-Star Motorsports productions for our Saturday night performance. They're the event company that we have used in the past several years. We would like to bring them back. They would be doing the monster trucks, have the Tough Truck Pro, a motorsports, motocross event, along with a couple of fighting robots that would be in conjunction with all of that. The cost would be $39,000 to bring them in for our performance. John has reviewed the contract. There was 2 changes that needed to be made. We haven't got those changes submitted from Brian yet, who is with the All-Stars. He said he would get that to us today. If we could do approval with him changing those 2 things that John had mentioned. He had one on Section 5A as far as who would get the ticket revenue, and he would change that Uintah County would receive the ticket revenue. And on section 9C, there was a typo that says the fair agrees to not withhold payment from fair, and it needed to be the motorsports production added into that. And so we are seeking approval on that with those two changes being made.
Okay. Any other questions, John, comments? Any of the commission? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the contract with All Star Motorsports Monster Trucks in the amount of $39,000, including approval of signature with the two changes mentioned by Mel on the ticket revenues and the typo.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Mel. Thanks for
Thank you.
everything you guys do over there. It's been
Thanks,
great.
Mel.
Okay. We have a need for a public hearing today on policy 310, elected official salary increase. Tanya, did you have something you'd like to put up for the public to see? Or no? Okay.
No.
Tanya Craven, Human Resources. So last September, we did a wage chart for our sheriff's office. At that time, Sheriff LABRUM, as an elected official, was not grouped in with that increase. With the policy 310 being an elected official, we weren't able to address his salary increase at that time. I'd like to bring that forward now. To address that, Sheriff LABRUM's salary has been set at $85,425.60. The requested salary.
Whoa, that
Well, no,
doesn't sound right.
that's where he is right now.
No,
Or no?
98,
no.
Yeah.
425.60.
85,
Nine-
98, sorry, 98, 425.60. Sorry, I apologize, apologize.
Wait, he just got a raise that fast.
Sorry, so sorry. Okay, so going back then. So what I'm requesting is that we increase his salary to $115,000. I have been doing some compensation surveys with some other counties and looking at those counties comparable to duties, jail sizes, staff sizes, things of that nature, and having those discussions with Sheriff LABRUM as well. And that would be an increase of $16,574.40.
Okay.
Wow, you guys shut me down fast.
So on here, we have the ones that we're looking at, comparing them against like Wasatch. They have 70 deputies, and Sheriff, you have 98, is that correct? And
He has
they're at
103.
115, right?
Right. And he has actually 103 total on his staff,
Three.
but yes,
And Wasatch has 70.
yes.
Summit County's 122, 930.
Well,
Five.
that is for their, if you're looking at that one.
Yeah, I was just.
So
reading
Summit
that.
County Sheriff is around 146,000. The other Summit County, that's their captain.
Yeah.
So that
That's
isn't
over
their
the
sheriff.
corrections.
Yes, that's in their corrections. So that's just showing comparably that our sheriff is currently being paid less than,
Okay. Summit Sheriff.
and then I also we just did some phone calls, to try and get, and at the bottom, we just asked for some ranges, some salary ranges, to not drill into specific, just for sensitivity as well, for like Naples, Duchesne, Uintah, or Vernal City as well, just so we could get where we are locally as well, and that's where those salaries are. Vernal Cities is actually listed on the comp survey website that I pulled from as well, where all their HR representatives put that information into that website so that we can pull out that information.
Okay.
Got Washington County Chief Deputy down as 98, but not the sheriff. Where does the sheriff?
That what information wasn't listed on the comp survey, so that was the only information I could pull out. They didn't, HR had not responded to give me the.
Okay. Do you have any other information you want to put out, or?
I
Okay,
don't believe so.
we'll open up the public hearing to public comment. If anybody has any comments. Either one.
Tiffany Dolphemeyer, and I just want to know why we're doing this now, because if we were going to do this, this should have been done before the signups. So everyone that could have had the opportunity to make more money could have seen that, hey, if I run for sheriff, I'm going to make more money. And if the sheriff is being paid less according to the salary schedule, and didn't we move to a class 2 county?
No.
Or
No.
Class 3.
We're still in class 3?
We were
Down
yeah.
to 4.
4,
Yeah,
or
down to
class
4.
4, sorry.
From 3.
Down from 3. So are these counties that we're comparing to, are they also class 4 counties?
So we have class, this is a combination of all different classes. We have Duchesne County on here. We have Naples City on here.
Okay,
So,
but-
I mean, I'm classifying all different
So
sizes.
the Duchesne
and-
County Sheriff is making 80,808. Carbon, 84,547. You know, as a third class, we have Tooele, 98,502. And you know, my problem with comparing this to Summit County is they have a valuation of $25.9 billion. The average home price in Summit County is 1.6 million. You know, Washington, or Wasatch County, 8.3 billion. The average home price, 950,000. Washington County, the valuation, 24.9 billion. The average home price, 575,000. And Uintah County has a valuation of 3.9 billion, with current average home price median listed as 282,000. And I realize that, and I'm not saying that that might not be done, but if his salary needs to be increased, I think it needs to go across the board. Why aren't the other elected officials being looked at? Because if his salary is low on the salary scale, they haven't been given raises and compensation. You know, the county employees haven't been given COLA raises for the last few years. And at the same time, they weren't being given COLA raises through the years. They were asked to increase their insurance payments. So if we have money in the budget to increase the elected officials' salaries, I think we need to start looking at increasing the employee salaries and what they're being offered.
The other thing we need to look at is how many employees that they look over.
And the inmates.
Yeah, the inmates, and comparatively, so employees are 103.
Total employees are 103, and the inmates are far out way. As far as Summit County houses half the inmates that Uintah County houses.
About Duchesne, do you know what our inmates are? Duchesne has 51, so half the employees. Do you
Sworn
know what the
officers.
inmates are at the Duchesne?
I don't. I could maybe, Steve, do you know what their inmate count is over there?
You know, I think a lot of this stuff has materialized in the last year. We had, I'm going to probably not get the exact dates correctly here, but the Highway Patrol Department has jumped out in the state of Utah and give
Yes,
huge
the Highway Patrol
raises
is now.
across the board to try to retain their officers. I kind of, was visiting with other commissioners. They're facing the same thing we're doing here, and retaining officers, keeping their sheriff. I think this stuff is, I've looked at this and I've asked you to always give us a comparison. That I kind of feel like we're in line with this, with what's everything here. We can justify it with looking at what's here and has been presented, and I think it's something that we need to, glad we're having this discussion.
Any other public comment?
So Dan Dillsaver. I wouldn't want to be a cop. I'm just telling you. And I like the way that I feel like that our police force, the police force and the sheriff's department and the Utah Highway Patrol, I like the fact that they do want to be cops, and I think they do a good job. I'd hate to live in Seattle, I'm just saying. So to retain people who are qualified and enjoy what they do, I think it's important to pay them a fair wage. Thank you. One other thing I'd like to say, I don't think using how many employees a officer or a supervisor supervises is necessarily a good way to do that, because if I get more employees, I get more money. Not a good metric. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing, which brings us to the resolution number 04112022R1, elected official salary increase. That one is for Steve Labrum.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve resolution number 04112022R1, elected official salary increase for Sheriff Labrum, as being presented with appropriate signatures. Is that how we need to do that?
Do you want to state the rate?
And the rate will be $115,000 at this time.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Clarification for the resolution, because my office didn't fill in those numbers or dates because we need to have a public hearing and then commission action. So is it 115 even?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then effective, what will be the effective date for that?
So the policy states that it will be, so that the commission may adjust the salary of the elected official to recognize the changed condition. Let's see. Oh, it's during the current term of office.
When's our next payroll? Probably our next payroll date. Is that what you need?
Well, I just need to know what, I just need to know what date you're making this effective. Because the next payroll date, we can grab that.
Next payroll date is what I'd like to modify, if we can get that.
Oh,
What is the date today?
And today's the 11th. It's the beginning, or is it the,
today's the 11th.
no, it's the middle.
When's our next payroll date? You getting that?
I'll pull it up here, see if I can. So would that be April 22nd?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
payday?
it's a week, it's today.
Mm-hmm.
So the 17th.
Starts on the 17th.
Yep.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
No, a week from yesterday.
Week from yesterday.
Can I make that add to my modification of the?
Yeah, so it'd start April 17th, and then obviously there could always be action at some other time, but it would just be for the end of this term or. Turn your mic on, John. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. It sounds fine up here. I don't know what your all problems are. So it's starting April 17th of 2022, and then is it going to run through his current term, or?
Until adjusted again.
Okay. So
John?
So not have an end date then on it?
Oh.
Okay.
John, I do want to ask just one question, just for clarification before we move on. Because in the body of that section of elected officials, it says two different things. It says that the action of the commission before the date of November prior to the year that the election of that seat occurs, adjustments may be made prior to the sign-up period of the office, which is up for the election. The adjusted salary does not take effect until the term of the office. But then at the end of that same paragraph, it states that the commission may adjust the salary if there's a need within, because of wage compression or something of that nature. And then it states at no time can the salary of the elected official be reduced during the current term of office. So it doesn't state if there is a change in the salary because of a change of, that the commission sees a need for, if it's at the affected until the term of the next of office begins, or if it's during that specific term.
I think,
Do you want?
I don't have the policy pulled up in
I have
front
it.
of me. I do remember reviewing those because those changes were made just within the last few months.
I just want to make sure so that we, if you're writing for the resolution, that we're clear on how that happens.
Yeah, so we did put in the compression issue, which I think for all offices that would be applicable to if that's a demonstrated thing for any of the offices. And then we do have in the policy that it cannot be reduced during that term of office.
Right.
Which is actually, that's prohibited by state law and state constitution. So I think on a wage compression, it can be adjusted at any time for
Okay.
a current year.
All right, I just wanted to be sure, because we had that language in there.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Basically, in my modification, then I just need to say it's beginning April 27th. Or
April 17th.
2022.
Until modified, yep.
Like to add that to my motion, Mr. Chairman, to the modification of it will start April 17th, 2022.
Okay. Have a second on that?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to mention something briefly, and that is I'm not exactly sure where a lot of information comes from. We have been adjusting salaries of employees based on, what's the best way to put it, on market. So we have changed, attorneys have been changed because that's what it was needed to find someone to take the job. We've changed law enforcement because we were losing more than we were able to keep. We were training them and then sending them off somewhere else. CDLs, IT, and there has been considerable adjustment of salary. What there hasn't been is a broad, across the board, every position, 4 or 5% like we saw from 2004 roughly to 2015. But many have been adjusted and a lot have been driven by market.
Okay. We have any other comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay. Now we're to the point in our commission meeting that we'll open this up to public comment. We'll have 10 minutes, 3 minutes apiece. We'll open that up now. Any going once? Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public comment time. We do have the need for some closed sessions today. We do not have a need for all 5. We have a need for 3. We're going to do, do I need to read all these, or can I just say the top 3?
No, read them.
Okay, we have the need for closed session for the purchase, exchange, and lease of real property. Closed session for the purpose of discussing the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual. We have a need for the closed session for the purpose of discussing pending and imminent litigation. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission recess into closed session, move into closed session for the purchase, to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, and upon completion, move into closed session for the purpose of discussing the character, professional, I'm sorry, John, we have to go back to open and then go into the next closed, or can we move from closed to closed? Okay.
It can all be one motion.
Closed session for the purpose of discussing the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual, and then into closed session for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent litigation, and upon completion of those discussions, return to open session and adjourn.
Are we going to move into the small?
Oh, yes, and we will relocate to the small commission conference room in, at 12:15.
Okay,
I'll second it.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. We're recessed until 12:15.